Hey folks, Nathan here. Welcome to Nate's Favorite Deck Building Games. This time we continue our look at Marvel Legendary with the two small expansions from 2016. Those are Legendary's Captain America 75th Anniversary expansion and Legendary Deadpool. We'll start with Captain America 75th Anniversary. It'll have one of these smaller rule supplements. Yes, you must play this with either the Heroic or Villains base set, as is the case with all expansions for Legendary. As is so often the case, we're going to have 5 new heroes, we're going to have 2 new villain sets, we're going to have 2 new masterminds, and we're going to have a total of 4 new schemes to go along with our new mechanics. So, let's start with the schemes. Again, 4 new ones of them. We have changed the outcome of World War II, go back in time to slay heroes' ancestors, brainwash the military, and the Unbreakable Enigma Code. For our masterminds, we have the usual 1 mastermind card and 4 mastermind tactics for each. We have Arnim Zola, and then we have Baron Heinrich, not Helmut, Zemo. We saw Helmut a while back. For our villain groups of 8 cards each, we have the Masters of Evil, notice there, of World War II, as opposed to regular Masters of Evil we've already seen, and Zola's Creations. Among our 5 heroes then, we have 2 that are part of the Avengers, 2 that are part of S.H.I.E.L.D., but 1 that is unaffiliated. Our unaffiliated one is the Winter Soldier, right, so Bucky Barnes. We then have associated with the Avengers, Captain America, when Sam Wilson, aka Falcon, is Captain America. And then we have Captain America 1941, because we've already seen plenty of modern Captain Americas. Then for S.H.I.E.L.D., we have Steve Rogers as Director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then we have Agent X-13. As for new mechanics, we in some cases have woman or man out of time, which often will happen based on some combo ability here. But man or woman out of time means that you play the card on this turn, and then you sit it aside. And then on your next turn, after the villain has come out of the villain deck, or a card has come from the villain deck, then you play that card again, and then you're going to discard it. And then you continue on with your turn as normal. So you basically get double the bang for an out-of-time card, once on one turn and once on the subsequent turn. It counts as played for both turns, so it can activate combos for both, which is pretty cool. You also have some cards that have a new keyword, Savior. Basically, that's going to give you some other new ability. You get any Savior ability if there are at least 3 bystanders sitting in your victory pile. Then we have 2 other keywords that are related to each other, Abomination and Ultimate Abomination. So a villain's going to have Abomination, and let's say it's sitting in the bank. Even though there's not 5 separate slots in the headquarters, there are going to be 5 cards down here, so they are basically underneath each of the city spaces. Abomination means that you take the printed cost here, but you also add the cost of the card underneath. So say we've got a card underneath. Let's say here it's this card. So he's already got 6 attack when you try to attack him, but he's Abomination, so he adds 3 to his 6 to make 9. You have to pay 9 attack to defeat him instead of his printed cost. The Ultimate Abomination would be if you had, say, Arnim Zola as your mastermind over here. His printed cost is 6. But Ultimate Abomination means you add up the cost of all 5 cards in the headquarters, and whatever that amount is gets added to his printed cost of 6. So, for example, let's say we've got these cards out here. Oddly enough, they all happen to be cost of 3. That means that he goes from having a cost of 6 in terms of the attack used to take him down, adds in 15, and now he is attack rating 21. Cool, fun new mechanics, nothing majorly game-changing, but a nice twist and a great chance to play with a lot of characters tied into Captain America, who, by virtue of Captain America being such a big part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, should also be characters familiar to those watching the films who may not have read the comics. Then we have Legendary Deadpool, which, yeah, its little instruction item here is just about as erratic as the inside of Deadpool's head. Treats it as if this was going to be an Alpha Flight expansion that became Deadpool. Interesting, not all that easy to follow always. Once again, this is a small expansion, so we're looking at 4 new schemes, we're looking at 2 new villain groups, and we're looking at 5 new heroes. So our schemes here: everybody hates Deadpool, Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, Deadpool wants a chimichanga, and Deadpool writes a scheme. Our new villain groups: we have Deadpool's friends, friends in quotes, and Evil Deadpool Corpse. We have 2 masterminds, again, 1 mastermind card and 4 mastermind tactics. We have Macho Gomez as a mastermind, and Evil Deadpool as a mastermind. For our hero groups, which are going to be those groups of cards of 14 each, we start with 1 of Hydra affiliation, which is Bob, Agent of Hydra. Then we have 4 of them from a new affiliation, Mercs for Money. You may recall we had Deadpool before in an earlier set. In fact, I believe it was the original Heroic Core set, but he wasn't affiliated. Now we have the Mercs for Money affiliation, so we have a new Deadpool here. We have Solo, not to be confused with the film. We have Slapstick, and we have Stingray. As for new mechanics, we do have some cards that have a value listed with a fraction, like this one having an attack value of 2.5. You just treat it as that printed value of 2.5. Some cards also have the new keyword excessive violence. The idea is that you play cards as normal. If they say excessive violence, you're just playing them, no big deal. But at some point during your turn, when you get into a fight, when you spend attack to go after a villain or a henchman up in the city, or when you go after the mastermind, you can spend 1 more attack than you actually need to. That kicks in excessive violence, and all the excessive violence abilities on all the cards you've already played kick in. Note, though, that it is only on the ones you've already played, so you better make sure that if you have any excessive violence cards in your hand, that you play them before you do that overkill attack where you kill someone for 1 cost more than normal, because any ones that are still sitting in your hand will not get that excessive violence ability, even if you then play those cards. It's only the ones that were played prior to the overkill attack. You'll also see that on some villain cards like Fight, excessive violence, which means in a normal fight, if you want to do it as excessive violence by paying 1 extra, then you can get this other cool thing to happen as part of that fight effect. We also have this crazy stacking ability, Revenge. It'll generally say Revenge for, and then something. And however many of that something are sitting in your victory pile, each one gives you +1 to that attack value. So this one says Revenge for Evil Deadpool Corpse. If we've got 3 Evil Deadpool Corpse villain cards sitting in our victory pile, that means that this goes up from 5 to 8, 1 for each of those 3. Then lastly, you got some weird effects that are focused on actually what's happening in the real world. It breaks the 4th wall, so to speak, and it's like Deadpool's looking into our world instead of the game world. Like this card. If it's between 8 p.m. and midnight, you get +2 attack. Otherwise, you get +2 recruit. Or if you played a tech hero, there's your combo ability. Screw it! Just take both. What? But yes, it is part of the game. You can use those abilities based on the time of day in real life. So yeah, Legendary Deadpool is definitely the weirdest of the expansions we've seen so far, but also kind of fun. And now that we've looked at these 2 small expansions for 2016, and last time checked out Civil War for 2016, we are ready to move into 2017. So next time, we'll check out that year's 2 small expansions before moving on to X-Men in the next episode.